Good morning.
Good morning, Scott Robb. Good morning, David Samarano. Good to be back.
Good morning. It's good to be back, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just go ahead and jump in there and find out what's going on with weather and traffic.
Yeah.
I'll give you a sneak preview. Lots of traffic, going to be hot.
Yeah, so the traffic's looking pretty quiet. I know in the police and first responder world, the word quiet is frowned upon. Was that the same for you, Scott?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to
Say
attract
quiet.
anything.
So I don't work in that business anymore, so I really don't care
And we're
if
thankful for
anybody
that.
hears that. So if you're watching and you're with my former police department, I'm sorry, but I think it's a little quiet out on the traffic realm. So if anything happens, you guys can call me and let me know. Anyways, weather-wise, it's heating up, guys. We're looking at another excessive heat warning today with a high of 110 degrees. Yeah, so if you want to cook your eggs and stuff on the sidewalk, this is the time to do it. You no longer need a stove. If you are not from here and you're listening for the first time, welcome to this rough little patch of heat, right? We get a good 130 days of heat, and then it kind of tapers off and we have some fun. But all in all, it's a great place to be. Welcome
Absolutely.
to Marana. Welcome to local Marana. We got a cool show going on today. I'm going to send it back to the professionals here.
What were we saying as we came in? What a great gig we got. We get paid to do this. Come on. Are you kidding me right now? Hey, I want Scott to talk about some stuff.
Ooh, I like talking about
that
stuff.
We're getting ready to. We got some really cool things happening over here.
Yes.
And jump in here, Scott. Hey, Scott, the newest member of the team. I think officially now, are we maybe 90 days, something like that officially?
Yeah,
Does that sound right?
we kind of estimated my hopping in Q2 to start as far as the business and growing the operation and expanding. And
I don't think there's any coincidence that it
perfect timing.
ramped up right as you came on. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's a business thing, a God thing. I'll throw that in there just because I believe that's the way it is.
No, I think so too. You know, when you talk about synergy and what's happening here with Live the Dream Media and where I was in my career and with a couple different entrepreneurial jobs and background in operations, that this was such a seamless integration right at the perfect time. Because it's like we are just hitting that growth phase and having some operations experience. It was my task early on to kind of peel back and start asking those questions. And we even did we did our own nice cinematography behind the scenes. We were talking a little bit about who we are and what we do. And that was one of my first challenges is I was peeling it back going, okay, what are we good at? We did a little, a traditional SWOT analysis and goes, where's our bread and butter? And really at the core of what we do, we're a digital advertising and marketing agency. And that's funny because what you see on most of our forward-facing stuff is the podcasts and the out in the community and a lot of these other things. And so we started to peel back our whole podcast and say, okay, this is what we're starting to sound better. We are upgrading our cameras and equipment every day. We're doing all of these great things. And we're coming in at a day and age where there is very low barrier of entry. It's not easy, but it also doesn't cost $3 million to start your own broadcast.
Or waiting 2 years for your permits to come through like some of the original broadcasters did 60, 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah, so the other day we had that nice little brainstorming session, and I go very mathematical and borderline.
Our whiteboards
autistic.
are full everywhere in the office.
Yeah, just more, Rain Man is my inspiration when it comes to math and business. And so
You're not kidding.
we put this whole fall broadcast schedule together and we started to look at it and we're like, ooh, this could work as just a great extension. It's an answer to the failures of mainstream media and the propaganda and the lack of an all-encompassing holistic voice for the people, that we realized, hey, we can actually get broadcasters in that are good at their jobs. We can get advertising in here, and here's this fall broadcast schedule, and it's going to work. And not to disclose too much, but we've got some heavy hitters coming in the fall, and I would throw that out to the group too, that if your contract is close to being up, because we know how those contracts work in mainstream media, and we don't have them because we believe in you, and we believe that because you're a great host, you're going to expand your own listenership, and you should benefit from it rather than be tied and anchored to a traditional system. So let us know. Let us know when your contract's up. We've got a couple people coming in the fall.
I think there's one we can announce.
Oh, is there?
Well, we're starting in 2 weeks with one, and that's an addition to what he's already doing.
Oh, yeah.
David, are you cool with that?
It's
2 weeks. He's coming in.
I know, but
okay. Well,
were you listening to a show this morning?
I was.
Okay. Did he say anything about it?
Well,
on the show?
I didn't have him on the whole hour. I mean, I had a 20-minute drive.
Side note: your wife is watching, and she says you need to face the camera more.
Hi, honey.
She wanted me to tell you. So I did.
Hi, baby.
It's raw in here. So yeah, she's watching you. She's watching her boo over there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know what, Clint? Go ahead and say whatever you want, man. You can say whatever you want.
Well, you know what? I am going to say it because he's coming in 2 weeks. And he's been here before. He was a guest, and he's going to start a new show. It's separate of his own show, and it's Christopher DeSimone is going to show up over here. I don't know what what the title of it's going to be, and he will be on in this room 2 weeks from today. So that's June 26th at 10 o'clock, and the Christopher DeSimone show, or whatever he's going to call that, is going to be here on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And that's really cool. Chris is a good friend of ours, a good buddy of ours, and he brings a lot. Now, to piggyback up on what Scott was saying, there is going to be I wasn't surprised, though, because David threw out some names of who he thought would respond to like a little blurb he put out about what we were doing. Boom, we got hit like immediately by people that were, and I was not surprised. I should have been maybe, but I knew him. I had spoke with him. I knew there was an interest.
Yes.
And we had a lot of people respond to wanting to host a show. And some of them will definitely be names that you recognize.
Yeah, and how many people in this industry right now actually get to do profit sharing and truly benefit from the fact that they're the ones building their followership and listenership, and they should be the ones that
are there any other than maybe a few very, very, very top in the industry? Are there anyone that I don't think the average news anchor or reporter gets any sort of profit sharing other than maybe some kind of company bonus at the end of the year? I mean, I don't know enough about the industry to.
I think what they're doing is they try to beef their salaries up or pay them, or maybe there's some sort of thing, but you've got to be like Tucker Carlson.
Exactly.
And by then you should be going off on your own, because you're going to do far better on your own, bringing your own listeners. And on top of it, you could say whatever you want. You're not then beholden to like if Tucker was beholden to Fox News or some news anchor that's in there, they're still regulated by some of the propaganda, some of the things that they might not.
Well, they're
want
regulated
you to say.
by FCC. On top of it, the industry as a whole has its regulations. Now, if somebody gets stupid over here, we're probably going to have a conversation with them and say, 100%. Hey, look, because you know what? At the end of the day, Live the Dream Media, that stands for Live the Dream. And as I was pitching someone just a few minutes ago before we came over and jumped on, hey, you want to listen to an interesting podcast? You know, I'm taking liberties to call it interesting. We don't ignore problems. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about a problem in the third half hour or so at 9:30. We're going to talk about a state problem that we have.
Yep.
And it's a problem.
Yep.
Can we agree?
Agree, 100%.
But so we're going to talk about a problem, but we're going to try to offer solutions to that problem.
Right.
That, that's an old Ben Franklin philosophy.
Is it?
From the Junto. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Hey, check this out. Google Ben Franklin.
I'm on it.
Junto, right? It is. We should share this more. We should talk about this more as a team.
Yeah.
This was Benny Franklin. I'm going to drift a little bit here for just a minute. Benny Franklin, because they created this. I believe you can check me on this, David. It seems to me like 1720. 20-ish. So we're talking about Benny. Benny was in his early 20s when he started this group.
All right.
Is that?
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No. Is that sound about
I should
right?
have pushed the button.
That is the answer to we found something on the internet.
Yeah, that's like, hey guys. All right, so 1727, man, you're right on there.
Okay, I couldn't remember the exact date. He was a young dude, and he started this thing with I think there were 12 men, and it was all men at the time. They met privately every Friday for the rest of their lives. They were bankers and farmers and publishers, etc. And junto meaning together. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole list of rules that they had to adhere to. And one of them was don't come in with a problem without some sort of solution.
Amen to that.
Because people walk around looking for problems like there's some reward or compensation for finding a problem.
Problem identification. Yeah.
There's no reward or compensation. You don't have to even leave this room for us to go, oh, that's a problem, mm-hmm. right? The solutions are where the compensation is.
Yes, absolutely. Same thing within public service is we used to call that, you gather around the kitchen table and then people would talk about all the problems, either society, organization, whatever. It's like open forum. But it can't stay there. If you're going to be a problem identifier, I need you to also present some sort of solution. And it's okay if you're thinking it through on the fly, because that's what creates good conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We want to be able to think it through on the fly and say, well, what if we tried this or what if we tried that? And putting yourself out there to say, I might have a solution or two that would actually work in this situation. And then you end up using, let's say you use half of it. Well, and it solves half of the problem. That's great, because from where you were before, there was nothing being solved.
Even if it doesn't solve any of the problem, it gets you moving in the direction of solving the problem. And if you're talking about it as a group, because if a problem's big, I don't think any one person could tackle like the problem we're going to talk about in the third half hour. Mm-hmm. That's not. I don't think any one person holds the magic wand for that.
And that goes over multiple generations.
Exactly.
And it's ingrained, and it needs to be.
I'm going to tease a little bit. Stick around, because we're going to talk about education in Arizona in the third half hour.
Mm-hmm. And I believe Arizona is number one in the country,
and always has been,
Yeah. So that
in the 30 plus years I've been in Arizona, we've anywhere from 46 to 51st, and 51st being we count Washington D.C. as part of. So there's actually a rating in some formats of 51 positions, and we're always in the last 4, 5, 6 spots.
We're going to have to peel back why that is.
Yeah. And I don't think you and I are going to come up with a solution, but I think we're going to come up with. I think we have to start. Are the catalysts to start the solution. Mm-hmm. There's no easy answer, by the way, to problems that are this big. It's kind of like a lot of our problems that we have in our society right now. There's no one, even if there was a quick fix, a quick fix would almost be as catastrophic as the problem we have. I'll give you a good example. Our tax code.
Okay.
I think most people could agree our tax code is lopsided, bulky, out of control. When you got 8 feet of, and that's how tall the tax code is if we stack it up on the floor. You can't solve that with one clean. Let's just take out this middle section. You know why? Too many people make their living off the taxes. Mm-hmm. So if you were to say, let's just go say we're going to do a flat tax. Well, you just wiped out 8 million jobs.
Right.
Is that a solution?
Hey, Clint, to piggyback off the information about people who lose their jobs. So, per Statista, as of 2022, around 19.23 million people are working for state and local governments in the United States.
Yeah. See, that's insane.
That's a lot of working people.
Give that number again, David.
Yeah, it's 19.23 million.
20 million people, just round up, are working for state and local governments.
Yeah, Scott and I were one of those. Well, yours was a little different, but mine, yes. Yeah, that's a... Yeah.
It was the same thing. You know, if your salary is getting funded by taxpayer dollars, then you fall into that.
You know, I actually thought it was higher than that.
Well, that's state and local. So then you get into other stuff.
Yeah,
like
you want me to look
federal,
up federal?
Yeah. You know what? I know it's bigger than that because more people. Go ahead.
Are you
David.
ready?
Yeah.
All right. It says at the end of 2022, 1.9% of the United States workers were employed by the federal government. So you're looking at 2.87 million federal employees.
How many?
2.87 million.
So we're going to round up because that's 02. We 22 that we went up. So 23 million people. 23 million people work directly for state and local government and federal. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm going to venture out and say, and maybe there's no statistic for this, it's that many more are subcontractors for the federal government.
Yeah. You could say that. And
that's not, is that counting like educators at public schools and stuff like that?
My data that I have does not suffice for that question.
I bet it's couldn't be.
Come on, Claude.
I gotta have to look in there. Let me look that up. I'll try to find that by the third segment.
Yeah, because we gotta save something for the third half hour here.
But we're gonna be coming up on breaks, ad breaks soon. So I probably won't even get it.
But I want to go back real quick and pitch this pretty. Let Scott jump in here again. There's some pretty cool stuff in the pipeline for November. That's kind of what we're shooting for. We're busy with a lot of other stuff right now. Politics and
right. Because
sorry about all those signs you see on every corner because we're responsible for a lot of those.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
Well, you know, as advertising and marketing agencies, we of course specialize in digital, but we do everything from mailers to ad creation to
billboards,
script creation to
directing, hosting.
Exactly. I mean, we're
coaching,
and that's what it is. And that was the goal in the expansion is to truly be a one-stop shop for anybody trying to tell their story. Like that's the easiest way to put it is however you're trying to tell your story, we can get it out to the people. We can help you tell it. We can get those mailers out. We can get those signs out. We don't hammer into the ground and put the signs in. You know, that's pretty labor intensive.
We have done that though.
we have.
David can vouch for that. Middle of the night with the posto driver.
Yeah,
we don't do that anymore. But
no, we may volunteer to help a specific candidate that we're related to or something, but that is not a media service.
And the fee goes up dramatically if we do that. We charge quite a bit for that.
Yes, but I'm so excited because being a one-stop shop for all your digital advertising and marketing is fun. And what we wanted to then build on that is this independent media and this whole broadcast studio.
Did you guys just hear something like a loud noise?
I did.
Somebody's knocking in the back door.
Okay, let's figure out who this is because that's what the heck.
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
So David's gonna check on that, and it looks like the camera is to the room shot.
Yeah,
which is
so we
nice.
can just keep riffing. And
Now David taught me one time. He said, that's how people get murdered is by not having their doors locked.
or stay locked.
So I appreciate that he protected us from being stabbed. And as I'm looking out,
there goes some more political signs.
There you have it. So the room is a multi-purpose room. What you don't see behind the camera is the fact that we are consistently getting signs in and out for different folks and services, and that's what's fun about it. But even more, the broadcasting and the fall and being able to get this studio running 7 days a week.
Yeah.
and having people in and out and having different opinions and different hosts and diverse perspectives and all of the stuff that should be happening in media that's not is now what you're going to have with us.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of it's just fun stuff. Everything doesn't have to have a problem, solution built in. I know there's going to be some sports talk. Shout out to the legendary loss this morning in the NBA world of Jerry West passed away.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. 86 years old.
Wow.
Mr. Logo.
The logo.
Yeah. So, and these are my boyhood idols. We lost Chet Walker earlier this week. Those are guys I just grew up with. And
you're going to outlive every single one of them.
Every one of them. Yeah, I'm going to make it to a 115. You know why? My to-do list is so long. I'm kind of locked in for the next 35 years.
Right. Well,
I hear
speaking of sports, when we return, we've got an extra special sports guest that's going to be joining us. I'm going to swap out. He's going to take my place, and you guys are going to talk a little baseball.
We're going to talk a little baseball and a little speed sport. And I'm interested to find out what he's selling.
Exactly. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Beautiful.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Are you looking to establish a powerful online presence for your brand? Look no further than Live the Dream Media. Our team of experts possess the capabilities and skills necessary to make it happen. From creating compelling content to analyzing data and making strategic decisions, we've got it covered. Don't let a lack of social media know-how hold you back. Visit ltdmedia.net for more information.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zuppi, running for the Marana Town Council. As a resident of Marana, I've witnessed the positive growth that has created a strong community where people in all stages of life want to live. Unfortunately, with growth comes traffic. One of my top priorities and goals is to work towards securing funding for the improvement of Marana's high-traffic I-10 interchanges and local roadways. Let's keep Marana moving forward together. Vote Melissa Zuppi, Marana Town Council.
Hi, I'm Ed Honey, and I'm running for mayor of the town of Marana. I can assure you that if you have water now in the town of Marana, you will have it for the rest of your life. Water is not going to go away. Our water table in North Marana has gone from 300 feet down to 140 feet at the current status. Water will be here forever. Please support Melissa Zuppi, Roxanne Ziegler, and Ed Honey for Marana Town Council.
We are back. We just had a lot of ads running there. So we've got a guest in the studio this morning, and I don't know your last name, Nick.
It is Thorne.
Thorne,
yep.
Well, that's easy. I got you now, Nick Thorne.
Nice and easy.
Nick Thorne with Legends Baseball is here with us today, and I'm pretty excited about this because I was heavily involved with travel baseball back in the day, kind of like in the infancy of travel baseball in Arizona. I don't know if you know Rick Peralt with Top Choice Baseball.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've known him for, matter of fact, we met at a ballpark.
Okay.
Shout out to my buddy Rick. I'll be calling you as soon as this show's over. I need to check on him. He had a little hip replacement a month or so ago. Yeah, we did this a lot. We were on the move, and it looks like you've got something similar and yet different. Is that fair enough to say?
It is, yeah. So
jump in here, Nick.
So it's kind of in between rec ball and travel ball.
Okay.
Basically, what it is giving the kids the experience, the reps, but doing it in a fun way, taking out all the travel, all the costs for that. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. It's a little bit in between.
Did you do any of that, or any of your kids do any of the travel stuff?
So you know what? I grew up out here. I played baseball at Mountain View. Didn't go to Marana. Went to Mountain View, and travel baseball wasn't a thing. You know,
you're a little bit older.
Yeah, so I'm 40.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because it's like about 35-ish and under.
Yep.
So you missed that like by about 5 or 6 or 8 years.
So it was interesting. I was talking to my college coach at Yavapai.
Who's that?
It was Sky Smeltzer.
Okay, yeah.
So he was out there for a long time.
Yeah.
So I was out there in 2001, 2002. Played there for 2 years. But he was talking about how that transition was happening just after like our class kind of left.
Yep.
So it was probably around like 05, 06, and what was happening was a lot of we were doing showcases. That was a big thing back then, right? So you'd have showcases. I went to one at like ASU. You'd have all the college coaches there. College coaches still knew high school coaches at that point. But then that transition started happening where the clubs started popping up and the travel baseball started showing up. So
I met Rick in 03. I think he started officially in 2000. His kids were little. He started Corey, who's now a father himself.
Okay, yeah.
And he's got a little guy and who's going to be a ball player. And I remember at that time there were like 60 teams registered in Arizona as travel teams. Okay. There must be 2,000 of them today, and they've continued to grow over those years. So I don't know how many in that 20-year period of time.
It's crazy.
It's insane, and that's just in the state of Arizona.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking about it just saturated the market.
Oh yeah.
We went up. David and I went up a month or so ago, maybe a couple months now, and we shot some video for Rick, and it was just insane to see this growth.
It's everywhere.
And I love that you're coming up because it's expensive. I mean, we're talking bats that are $400 and $500.
Oh, yeah.
Gloves $200 and $300. New shoes on a regular. Not. There's no offense to that, by the way.
Oh, that's totally,
just,
yeah.
And
That's just the equipment.
And the expense of traveling and hotel rooms, but to be able to offer. So dig into what Legends Baseball does here.
Yeah. So I'll go back to the beginning. So the reason I started it, I was so I'm in Continental Ranch Little League. I'm coaching there. But yeah, I played for so long. Went to Yavapai and then went out to a Division II out in Denver, Metro State. And when I moved to Tucson, we moved back in 2020. And my oldest was around 8 or 9, so we got him into Continental Ranch Little League. And I wanted to be that dad that just sat in the outfield and just watched, right? Like my time was done. I just wanted to enjoy it. And it was about a year of doing that and then just kind of seeing where the Little Leagues were, the rec baseball was.
Yeah.
And then kind of finding out more about travel ball and club ball. Because, again, I didn't really know. I heard of it, but I wasn't big on it because of the amount of games that they play. Like, kids will get burned out, injuries, all that sort of stuff, right? So I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, okay, we got to do something because we're losing a lot of kids at a young age out of Little League. So Little Leagues are really suffering, and they're going into travel ball. Well, in Tucson, we don't have a lot of teams. I mean, there's a decent amount, but there's not a lot of opportunity for kids to go to some of these teams. So I was seeing kids that were dropping out of baseball at 8, 9, 10 years old because Little League wasn't challenging enough, but then they couldn't make some of these club teams, right? Or parents saw how much travel, how much money was involved, and they're just like, we can't do it. So there was no option for kids. So I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, okay, we got to do something. So I started a club, and told the parents, like, hey, we're not doing any games. We're just practicing. So for like 9 months, I did that. I started like 5 kids. Word spread. All of a sudden, I had like 20 kids. And then by that fall, I had 40 kids out there.
Where were you practicing at?
So we were doing, fields are tough to get.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
So we had like Crossroads. I was staying in this area, and then Sports Park.
Okay.
So we were doing like Wednesday nights. So we were practicing 2 times a week. And then, everybody was looking for games. So I was like, okay, we'll do a couple tournaments. We're not traveling anywhere. We're just doing Tucson.
Right.
And so we did that. I had 2 teams, an 11U and a 12U. And we played 1 tournament a month for like 5 months.
And they were teams from here in Tucson as well?
Most were local
teams, looking for
yeah.
the same thing you were looking for.
Yep. And then what happened was, as I was playing these tournaments, the cost of the tournaments is crazy. And the kids only get like 2 or 3 at bats, maybe a game. We only play like 3 innings because it's so lopsided. We've had a lot of kids that should probably still be in rec that migrate to club or travel or select baseball. So you kind of like water that down. So you're either killing somebody or you're getting killed. Like, it's not fun baseball, right? And then you're done in like 3 or 4 innings. So, they boot you out and get the next team in. So it's like your kids aren't getting a lot of reps out there. They're getting 1 to 2, maybe 3 at-bats if they're lucky. But as I was doing that, I had found, my wife was scrolling on Instagram. I'm not a social media person, or I wasn't before. And she found an ad from the main guy. So this is a franchise. And he was talking about Speedball. So she sent it to me, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is what I wanted to do, right? It's just training. Kids are getting reps. They get a ton of at-bats, all that sort of stuff, and we don't have to travel anywhere. So we looked into it. I told her, I was like, we're going to do it. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. So talked to the guy, and I don't know, 2 months later, we signed it. Deal was done.
And when was
this? In
this?
the fall. This was last year. I think it was around this time. Meanwhile, I'm busy because I do Continental Ranch Little League, so I had middle of All-Stars, right? We're starting All-Stars right now, too. So I had that all going on. Meanwhile, I just started a company, bought a franchise, never done that before. And I was like, what am I doing? So, we launched so we started marketing in like July, August, launched our fall season in February, had about 15 kids first. And then we started winter season after that. So from September to March is basically when we run. I try not to compete with Little League at all. I'm still a big Little League fan. I think it's the easiest way for kids to play the game at a cheap, affordable option. So, anyways, started in the fall, ran for 3 months or whatever, right to the holidays, took the holidays off, started my next season. I doubled. So I went from 15 kids to 30 kids. And then after that winter season, we lead right into Little League. I go back to Continental Ranch. Again, I'm the player agent over there.
And that starts Little League, if I recall, and it's been so long. What, February?
It's about February, March, yeah. Like the end of February is like when we start getting teams kind of squared away, and then practices start in March, and then that goes through. We just finished at the end of June, or at the end of May, I'm sorry.
And now you're in All-Stars.
Now we're into All-Stars, yeah. So we've been 2 weeks into practice.
Because my kid did both. Mike, go ahead. You got something for me, David?
Yes. So, Nick, I have this graphic here on the screen real quick. All right. So I saw this on Facebook the other day. If you look over here at our screen.
Yep.
So can you kind of run this down for us on is this kind of how it operates?
Yeah. So that's, so basically what Speedball is if you take a team of 12 kids, so your normal team of 12 kids, right? So let's just say 12 to 15. And instead of playing another team of 12 to 15, you just split that team into thirds. So you got 4 versus 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5 versus 5. So there's nothing like this is stuff that we would do in practices and stuff back in the day. You're just scrimmaging with each other, right? So the way it works is you have one team that plays the outfield position. So we do 4 in the outfield, just because I'm in that 8 to 12 age range.
Guy over there too.
Perfect. So, but we're dealing with like 7 to 12-year-olds. So we do 4 in the outfield, and then 1 person at catcher position. And I'll explain that in here in a sec. And then the other team, it plays infield. So the 4 infield spots, and then 1 at the pitcher's mound. And then the other team bats. So they just rotate. So your outfield goes to infield goes to hitting, and then hitting goes to outfield. You play baseball. So it's still 3 outs. We do Little League rules, so it's 5-run limit per inning, right? And then there's some other rules and stuff too, but that's the concept of it. So
okay, thanks for sharing. Thanks.
Yeah, so no problem. So yeah, each team, we do custom jerseys. I'll show you here in a sec, but we have custom jerseys for them all. So they're all, they have their names on them. We do nicknames and all that, whatever they want on them, their numbers, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, they just go through. So if you take, a 6-inning game, that's really like 9 innings, right? Because there's 9 outs per inning versus 6 outs per inning. And yeah, the teams just work together. The team that scores the most still wins. There's nothing different with any of that. But yeah, the big things are for the younger divisions. So it's kind of broken up into divisions still. So you have like hit and run, double play, triple play, and grand slam. That's based on age and talent, right? So I assess it first day or whatever, see where the kids are at, try to make even teams, and then we kind of go from there, right? But yeah, the couple main things are for the younger divisions, I pitch. So either myself or all my coaches either play college baseball or softball. And we're just up there, we're throwing strikes, we're challenging kids, right? So the key is we want hits, we want action.
Right.
Because that's how the kids learn. They get the reps, the defensive reps, all that sort of stuff. So I pitch, I can throw harder to kids that I know that can handle it. I can pull back on some, I can challenge some kids, all that sort of stuff. So that's why we like that. The catcher does not put on gear. We put a net behind there. They stand behind the net so they can still come out, make plays, catch pops, all that sort of stuff. But we eliminate the getting on the gear, beating them up to getting the gear on. It's just all that stuff that takes time.
You're right.
So again, the concept of speedball is we want it to be quick. So it happens quick. Like kids run in, they run out because they want to hit. So they're just flying all over the place and there's no wasted time. And yeah, like some of the fun stuff that we do, like in between. So they all get walk-up songs. We try to give them the big league experience, right? So we have a DJ out there doing the announcing, doing funny stuff, playing music. Music's kind of going throughout, like at a lower level, and then when their walk-up songs come up. So it's like 15 seconds we do. Kids dance. They do whatever they want. They got 15 seconds to do it, but they better be ready, right? Meanwhile, we have all our coaches are spread out. So I'm at the pitcher's mound. I'm kind of taking the infield. Somebody's at third base. Somebody's at first base, talking to both the hitters or the runners and the fielders, showing them all that sort of stuff. I have a coach kind of in the outfield back there too, and we're just talking through everything that just happened, coaching everything, right? We talk about like cutoffs. So ball goes out here, mainly right now at this level, we just want them to be in the right spots. So second base, ball goes on your side, you follow it, shortstop, you cover. So you're just kind of shifting, right? So we get to explain it because it just happened and maybe they didn't do it. But then what happens is the next pitch happens again and then they just do it. Right, so they know what to do, and now it's locked in. So, yeah, that's kind of the main parts of it. There's some other rules too, like if they get a double play, then they score 2 runs for the defensive team. So you can score runs on defense too. So it keeps them engaged. Yeah. Right. So, that's the concept of the game. Now there's other things outside of that, like we have tokens that we give out because we do a 30-minute practice. I only do it one day a week. It's just based on field availability and all that sort of stuff, and try not to compete with other things. I want kids to play other sports. So we've kind of landed on Sundays right now, but it's 2 hours every Sunday for 9 or 10 weeks. And yeah, we give them tokens we do 30 minutes of practice before. So, and it's just small group stations, each like 4 to 5 kids with one coach. And we're working on something infield, outfield, throwing or hitting or whatever. And then we just cycle through for 30 minutes, really quick, keeps their attention. And then we get into the game for about an hour and a half. And, yeah, we give out tokens for, if they're hustling, doing things, whatever. And then they get to cash them in at the store. We have a little tent set up. We got candy, cards, all kinds of stuff that they love.
That's very cool.
So
that is very cool. I always felt there was, and this sounds like you guys are filling that void because you used the word practice a while ago. Nick, they're all practices.
Yep.
I don't care. Unless you're getting paid, unless you're playing professional baseball or sports, they're all practices.
Yep. And I
want everybody to learn and grow, right?
Yep.
Isn't that the goal?
That's it. My main goal with this program is first and foremost, because again, we're dealing with 7 to 12-year-olds. I want them to have fun. And part of this is fun. It's fun first, right? But they're also learning, and we're teaching it in a college style. So when you're in college, there's limitations as to how long you can practice, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So all your work is done individually.
Right.
Outfielders are in small groups. You're with 3 to 4 players and 1 coach. That's it. That's all you can do. And so we do everything individually, and it's all just reps over and over. Basic stuff like footwork, hitting off a tee, all this sort of stuff, right? So that's what I'm trying to bring down to the younger levels of like, the stuff that we're doing is the stuff that they're going to continue to do if they continue to play.
Exactly.
And it's stuff that they got to get good at, right? It's like, I've got to do it so much that I just can't make a mistake.
Right.
So, but
how long has Speedball been around as far as an organization?
Yeah, good question. So the main guy, David Klein, he goes by Captain Fun. You've probably seen him. He wears all the gear. He's really big on like Instagram and TikTok, all over that stuff. He started it back in... So he played up in California, and then did a club team, travel ball, and like his story is they traveled to a tournament. He had a 8U team. They traveled to a tournament, and the game got canceled or something, and he had to like tell all the kids that they're not playing, and they all traveled this far, and he's like, I'm never stepping foot into a tournament site again. Yeah. So he created Legends Camps. So they do a ton of camps. Like their whole thing is camps and stuff. And then Speedball was born in 2020 when they had limitations out there. They had to do small pods of 3 to 4 players or whatever, right? So they were like, how do we still do our camps, but do them in small groups? So they were able to do that, and that's how Speedball was born.
That's a great story.
So they still do, again, they're running camps right now. They do a great job at it. So they're doing all that stuff. I'm just doing the Speedball part right now. Eventually I may go that far, but I also want to make sure that I have the support and the people around me to kind of do that too.
And you may or may not know this, but as far as, because I'm always looking like long term, right? Wonder what the success rate is, or the kids that maybe move out of his camp / Speedball into going on, because by that time they're junior high, they're 12, 13 years old in high school. Do we know at all how many of those kids? Because I would think the number would probably be pretty good.
Yeah, he's had a successful program. I mean, he definitely has had kids that come through his like summer camps and all that sort of stuff that have gone on and played. They went through college, and I think there's a couple pro guys out there.
We're gonna dig into that a little bit more. And when you come back, I'd like for you to maybe have some of that, because to me, you've said a couple of key words here. You're getting your reps. To me, that's super important.
Yep.
I think, honestly, based on what you're sharing with me, I think you've bridged that gap.
And that was the goal.
And that's really exciting to me.
Yep.
Because
that's the goal there.
When my kid he's 31, so you can start doing the math. And he was doing both. And then it became, well, we're going to do travel ball because his skill set was there. And, and we have I have no reservations about having done that.
Yep.
And they had a lot of fun. We had a good organization, and I didn't coach, but I was actively involved. And the few times I did coach, I would get out and I'd put an F and a U, and everybody's looking at me, and then I'd put that in on the end. We're here to have fun, first and foremost. I'd like to win when it's over, when it's said and done. I'd love for you guys to win, but if we're having fun, then we won.
You'll win, because kids that have fun, like this is every level, even in college. Like if you're not having fun and you're stressing and putting pressure on yourself in baseball, that doesn't work.
Go home.
But if you're having fun playing loose, like those teams will win. Like that'll come. All that stuff will come. So.
But I'm into the reps. I really want kids of whatever skill set getting their reps. And that I do see that as a negative sometimes with the travel. Now, my buddy notwithstanding, a lot of it doesn't work that way. Like you say, you're getting crushed or you're crushing somebody. There's very few of those games that are really competitive.
And I think I'm not against club ball at all.
Oh, no, not at all. Absolutely.
And I think there's a time and a place for it for sure.
And nor am I against Little League. I think that's great opportunity, especially entry level or someone that really doesn't know if their kid wants to play. That's a great place to start.
Oh, yeah.
What's it cost? You coach at Little League. What's it cost?
Our dues are like $125, I think, for Continental Ranch. I think
and
it's about
you
what
play
everything's at.
16 to 20 games in a regular season. I don't remember how many.
Yeah, we play about 12 to 14,
Okay.
but you get the practice. You have like 2 or 3 practices until you start
Right.
playing, and then you have 2 games a week, 1 practice in there. So it's a lot of time.
So, yeah, So
It's plenty.
if you did it by hour, the cost by hour is costing you a couple
it's
bucks
cheap.
an hour.
Yeah, yep, in that amount of time. So, yeah, I
So
think
more kids playing more baseball is what I'm all about.
Yep, and the big thing is like with club and stuff, like a lot of teams get caught up in playing all the time, right? Going to each tournament, all that sort of stuff, and that's sometimes some of these tournaments don't have rules around like pitching and all that sort of stuff. So that's where you're really going to see some injuries and some burnout and all that stuff. And I think there's a fine balance, right? Like I didn't play a ton of I mean, I played a lot of baseball. I didn't play near as much as these kids are playing today. And I got to the point where I was in high school and I was burned out. Like it was my senior year. I had a few offers and I didn't want to play.
Yeah.
I was done. And that was just playing, high school.
Yeah.
I played Little League because there was not much else. High school, Pony, Legion, all that sort of stuff.
In that whole time frame, you probably hadn't played 200 games, and some of these kids, and I'm not kidding, I don't think any of them are playing 200 a year, but I guarantee you they're playing 100 a year.
They're playing a lot, and
So
I don't remember.
By the time they're 8 years old, a lot of times they've got more games under their belt than I did.
I don't remember
through high
playing a
school.
doubleheader until maybe high school. Mm-hmm. And like 8-year-olds are going out playing double headers, sometimes 3-4 games on that Sunday. Who knows in a row? Like that's a ton. So
I don't know. As a kid growing up, and I didn't play organized baseball till I was 12 years old. There just wasn't enough kids around. Mm-hmm. We played every day, all day.
Oh yeah.
And nobody was counting pitch counts, but we were doing it for the love of the game.
Yep.
You got eight kids. Well, 7 are going to be in the field. We basically were 8 individual teams.
Yeah.
I can score as many runs as I can score myself, but but it sounds to me like, again, you have bridged that gap between rec ball
Yep.
and travel ball. And to me, having been in this industry directly or indirectly for over 20 years now, it's like we're missing something in the middle.
Exactly. And that was the key. That's the point. And so the reason why I don't compete with Little League is my goal with this right now is to build the Little Leagues back up. So if I can get kids playing in the fall, in the winter, and again, 2 hours a week.
Right.
That's it. What I'm trying to supplement is when I was growing up, like we were out in the desert throwing rocks, all that sort of stuff. So I was working on things, right? We'd go play home run derby at Arthur Pack.
Yeah.
We'd play wiffle ball in the front yard. You'd take tape because we lose all the wiffle balls, and we'd take duct tape and all that sort of stuff, right? But we were working on our skills, and we didn't know it. Where today the kids aren't doing a lot of that sort of stuff, right? So ultimately, the key is reps.
Right.
The more reps we can get in a fun way,
In a fun environment.
because we're competing with video games and all that sort of stuff, right? So we need to make it fun, but we've got to be able to give them as many reps as we can. Here's kind of an example of what we do in speedball. So this season I was interested. I was taking stats because we have all the marketing and stuff, and it's out there. It sounds nice, but I'm like, what is it really? So kids were getting anywhere from about 6 to 10 at bats per game, and again, that was sometimes in 5 innings because we only have an hour and a half. Usually.
Wow.
So they were getting 6 to 10 at bats.
Wow.
Again, depending on how the game goes and all that sort of stuff. The big thing is for one day, I left my phone running and I just, I filmed the whole hour and a half. There was 90 balls in play.
Wow.
Balls in play. So that gives the opportunity for base running, for plays, for double play, all that
You
sort of
wouldn't
stuff.
see that in a week.
It's 5 times what you see in a Little League season.
So speedball is an accurate description of what's actually taking place.
I think so. And again, it's
That's
that amount of reps
incredible.
that they get just in that 2-hour span, right? Like just in that 2 hours, that's more than they're going to see in probably a month.
I guarantee you there are times, and again, a kid wouldn't get 10 at bats in a weekend traveling to Las Vegas and his parents spending $500 to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And I hate to admit it, but I've seen people that were borrowing that $500 to go.
Yeah, it's
I used to take a van full of them, and did your mom and dad send you with any money? And for the love of the game. And you know what? Part of what you're saying here is exciting to me because I think we are losing kids to play because it used to be when I was a kid growing up, man, everybody played, whether you were good or not. You just played because it was the thing you did during Little League season.
Right.
There was no fall ball then. I'm that old, you know, but everybody played because that was what we did. Well, that's not true anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know the people actually that started your Little League.
Oh yeah.
I've actually interviewed them, Patty Cumberford and I can't think of her name right now. And that makes me sad.
It's funny because when I was growing up, Continental Ranch didn't exist. It was
What's her name, David? Sue Flair.
Yeah.
They actually
That is correct.
They actually created that. A shout out to Patty and Sue. They created that out of the trunk of their car and put all that on their credit cards.
Oh, that's awesome though. Like that's
30.
cool
I think it was 30 years now. Is that right? Because we just did a celebration for that a couple like last year.
Yeah, I was so I went through. So I grew up way out in Marana. I played Marana Little League for like a season, and then I came into town to go to school and stuff. And then I think at that point we moved, and then I was Thornydale Little League, so my parents were involved. So that's kind of where I grew up. But yeah, Continental Ranch didn't exist. I remember in high school I came out. I think it was Sunflower that kind of started up. Like I was doing. I was working for Russet, and I was either doing air conditioning or like pest control for another company, and I was out here doing all these houses, and I'm like, damn, there was nothing out here, you know. And then gone for 20 years in Denver. I come back and there's stuff all over.
Yeah.
So
Gene and Darlene, and they ended up getting married, were the heads of District 5 and 12. And I remember them. They kind of were a couple, and then they became officially a couple. They got married. This is cool, Nick. I think what you're doing has got a lot of. I think there's a lot of opportunity here.
Oh yeah,
Hey, Clint.
Yes.
Hey, so regarding the decrease in, children playing sports, I couldn't help but use the Google machine in here and look into some stuff. And I found one article in particular that came out. It was on USA Today, and this was in January this year by Stephen Borelli. They are saying 70% of kids drop out of organized sports by age 13.
Yep.
And the so-called
70%.
Yeah, and the so-called professionalism. Yeah, the so-called professionalism of youth sports can be understated as a significant factor why, according to the report by the American Academy of Pediatrics.
That's wild. 70%.
There's a company that looks into that and has, I think it's Project Play. It's the Aspen Institute that does this, and they look at like youth sports and all that sort of stuff. Baseball for sure is one of those that has a decline. And again, it's in that 10 to 12 age range, and kids haven't even grown up. They haven't even, like a kid at 10 years old isn't going to be what he is at 17, right? So it's unfortunate because a lot of the kids are dropping out right now, and they still have a lot ahead of them. But I was seeing that with Little League. So our numbers were showing that. Like our younger divisions in our T-ball, coach pitch, we split up our minors, so it's like AA, AAA now. We had high numbers, and then you get to majors, which would be your 11s and 12s, and you just see it drop off. So we would go from, 5, 6, 7 teams in AAA or AA, and we'd have one majors team. Now there's a lot of other stuff that goes into why that happens, but yeah, that's what I was seeing, and that's exactly what I wanted. Was there is this gap, and it's unfortunate that kids are leaving so early because again, they're not even getting to the fun stuff. They haven't even played baseball yet, right? There's so much from the mental aspect that they haven't even even my 12-year-olds today, they're not there yet. So that was the big driver for me was, there's got to be something here.
Not to discount. I love seeing kids play 5, 6, 8. But you honestly, check me if you don't agree with this. You don't have a clue what the game even is until you're 12 years old.
So that's a good point. Like we teach coach baseball right now like it was 20, 30 years ago. But yeah, the kids right now, they just need to be athletic. You don't even need to do baseball. You don't need to teach them that stuff. You need to teach them how to hand-eye coordination, throw, catch, all that, hit a ball. That's it.
Right.
So, it's a shift on how we're kind of coaching some things too.
We coming up on our ad set, David?
It's correct. That's what we're doing.
Okay. Stick around for just a couple more minutes, Nick.
I can stay all day.
We can get a couple more minutes here.
Cool. I'll bring out some of the gear.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zuppi, running for the Marana Town Council. As a resident of Marana, I've witnessed the positive growth that has created a strong community where people in all stages of life want to live. Unfortunately, with growth comes traffic. One of my top priorities and goals is to work towards securing funding for the improvement of Marana's high-traffic I-10 interchanges and local roadways. Let's keep Marana moving forward together. Vote Melissa Zuppi, Marana Town Council.
Hi, I'm Ed Honey, and I'm running for mayor of the town of Marana. I can assure you that if you have water now in the town of Marana, you will have it for the rest of your life. Water is not going to go away. Our water table in North Marana has gone from 300 feet down to 140 feet at the current status. Water will be here forever. Please support Melissa Zuppi, Roxanne Ziegler, and Ed Honey for Marana Town Council.
I'm Edgar Soto, and I'm running for Pima County Supervisor District 3. I am blessed to be supported by these three important women in my family, my mom and two sisters, and I'm humbled to be endorsed by the National Organization for Women. They are confident that I will improve the lives of women in Pima County when I'm elected in November.
Join Edgar Soto in building a better future for Pima County. Together, we can create good jobs, protect our environment, and ensure everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Vote Edgar Soto.
We are back. We asked Nick to stick around, and he's got about 5 minutes, so we're going to cover as much as we can in the next 5 minutes. And Nick, you're welcome back. So let's just start, especially as you get closer to the fall and you get ready to start.
Okay.
So go ahead, cover what you want to get done in the next few minutes.
So a big part of our program too is this Legendary Life Playbook. So what this is there's like 12 like life lessons is what we call them in here. So there's things like, process, routines, goals, all that sort of stuff. And the reason we do this is because I feel, in my experiences, baseball taught me everything I needed to know, and sports in general, I think, right? Because my wife was a college soccer player. So
I agree. I know where you're going.
It taught us everything we know: communication, teamwork, failure, how to respond from failure. That's a big one in baseball, right? Because you fail all the time. All this stuff translates, right? And you're not going to play baseball forever. It's something like 8% of high school players actually make it to NCAA Division I, 2, or 3. 8% of that. Yeah. Right, and then now you're talking from that percentage
to the next level.
You're at 5 or 6% for baseball, and like it's less than 1% for softball. Yeah. So we do this each week, has a lesson, and it's really quick. It's good for the kids; they all get them. It talks about like adversity, how do you deal with it, all that sort of stuff. And then we give them strategies, reset strategies, and then there's questions in here, and then sometimes activities.
I love it.
So they sign off, right? The parents sign off or whatever. They bring it to us. They get a token.
Beautiful.
So this is a key piece. A lot of the parents like this stuff, and again, it's not only baseball. It's what they can do at life, like routine. Wake up in the morning, clean your room, make your bed, whatever. Right? Baseball routine, all that sort of stuff. So this is a big piece of what we do. Our founder, he created this. I'm going to create a second version because I got kids that they all returned. Now they're coming back for their third season. Yeah. So I got to mix it up a little bit. So I'm creating another version for them. We'll have like volume 1, volume 2, and however long you're in our system, you'll go through that. So that's a big piece of it too.
That's huge. You know what, Nick? I've always said that. Day one.
Yeah.
This is way more than throwing the ball around an infield and turning double plays and getting hits.
Yep.
We're teaching you how to live, teaching you about life. You ever heard that there's a book called, it's actually a poem. It's by Robert Fulghum. It's called Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. You ever heard that?
I haven't.
Google it.
Okay.
And you know what? It nails it. Everything you need to know, you learned in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Hold hands when you cross the street
Yep.
and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Everything I needed to know about life, I learned playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't necessarily the coaches or anything that went on or my parents bringing me or taking me. It was playing the game and learning how to cooperate and play and build camaraderie with the people that I played with.
Yep.
Coaching is great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's important.
Oh, yeah.
But it was actually the on the field stuff.
Yep.
That you learn almost instinctively, right?
It's funny because baseball is a team sport, but it's very individualized, right?
Exactly.
So you need to make sure you're doing your part.
Exactly.
And if everybody's doing their part, you function as a team. So
if everybody's doing their part, you're good.
You're really good, right? Like that's the thing. But just focusing on yourself and doing what you need to do, right, and get all that done as long as everybody's doing it. Like, so yeah, I totally agree. I'm biased, right? I'm an athlete. I think they make the best employees, you know, all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, it's probably tough for my kids because both my wife and I played, you know, in college.
Yeah.
So, you know, we kind of make sure, and we don't even we tell our kids like, hey, if you don't want to play, great. We'll support you in whatever you want to do.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you're not doing anything, we're going to put you in something, right? But like we tell our oldest right now, he's 12 and he's learning all this sort of stuff. And it's like, dude, I don't care what you do on the field. Like you could go 4 for 4. That'd be awesome. That's great. It doesn't matter. It's how you react when you fail, right? And that's the biggest thing is are you still picking up your teammates, cheering them on, all that sort of stuff? Are you hanging your head? Are you taking it into the field? All that, right? And like that stuff you just got to figure out how to get rid of because baseball is going to humble you real quick. It's a sport of failure.
Trust.
And it's hard.
I remember the first time I really saw good off-speed stuff, and I'm like, oh,
yep,
this is good. I think I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Lifelong fan, though. Love having you here. Got any closing words?
Nope. We start in the fall. So September, registration's open for that. We will run September through November. Every Sunday we play at Conroe Ranch Community Park. Right now, and then the winter season will start after that.
Okay.
Again, I love the kids playing different sports, so we try to make it available for that. Right, 2 hours a week. You know, if you want some good training with baseball, I got a lot of coaches that know what they're doing.
How can we get a hold of you?
So our biggest thing is Instagram. So that's Legends Camps Tucson. We're on Instagram. That's tied into our Facebook too, but we're really active on Instagram. If you email Tucson@legendscamps.com, that comes directly to us. If you Google us, we have all our information on there too, so you'll see all that. So
Legends Camp Tucson.
Yep, Legends Camps Tucson.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Nick, thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Keep us on your calendar, and as you get closer to the fall, reach out to us.
I will.
We'll get you back on.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks.
Discover the power of 88 Prime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
Are you looking to establish a powerful online presence for your brand? Look no further than Live the Dream Media. Our team of experts possess the capabilities and skills necessary to make it happen. From creating compelling content to analyzing data and making strategic decisions, we've got it covered. Don't let a lack of social media know-how hold you back. Visit ltdmedia.net for more information.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zuppi, running for the Marana Town Council. As a resident of Marana, I've witnessed the positive growth that has created a strong community where people in all stages of life want to live. Unfortunately, with growth comes traffic. One of my top priorities and goals is to work towards securing funding for the improvement of Marana's high-traffic I-10 interchanges and local roadways. Let's keep Marana moving forward together. Vote Melissa Zuppi, Marana Town Council.
Hi, I'm Ed Honey, and I'm running for mayor of the town of Marana. I can assure you that if you have water now in the town of Marana, you will have it for the rest of your life. Water is not going to go away. Our water table in North Marana has gone from 300 feet down to 140 feet at the current status. Water will be here forever. Please support Melissa Zuppi, Roxanne Ziegler, and Ed Honey for Marana Town Council.
All right, you're in.
Okay, we are back, and great segment with Nick. Left us some swag.
Yep.
Got the green Legends baseball on. We got,
Got a little,
that's tight right there.
I got a nice gray one here.
That is nice.
Snapback.
Yeah,
it's got the sticker on it still, which that makes you cool, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
You can leave it on.
Is that got the sticker
So
on?
that's what all the kids are doing.
Well, you know what? I'm going to leave it on because I want to be one of the cool kids.
Yes, you already are, but I mean,
well, I want to show people just in case there's any doubt.
Yeah,
that must be one of the cool kids. He's got his sticker still on his hat.
You know,
that was a good.
That was
segment.
awesome. I appreciate what he's doing and kind of replicating that whole sandlot style, like playing with your friends. Because baseball isn't one of those sports. Like it's not like basketball. You can't just grab a ball and there's a court right there in the middle school and you just start shooting it and you can learn some. Like you need friends that also know baseball and that are willing to play. And so when you're doing like 4-on-4 as kids, and then you're like, okay, you have to pull the ball. It's got to be to the right side a second. And you're finding little games to play that keeps them engaged because you need – baseball isn't one of those games where you're just going to naturally fall in love with it, in my opinion, because it's a little slower. Like it's not crazy action the whole time. Like you've got to understand the nuances. And if you never get a chance to play because you're not doing – professional club, like, and those kids wash out, just like he was saying, right before 12, like, 11 and 12, I remember those are my favorite times as a little leaguer.
Absolutely.
Because you're starting to figure out the game, you're starting to figure out stats, your team is doing all the little things and working together.
You know why 11, 12, 13, 14 is my favorite time? I was the best player in the league. 15, 16,
Clint
17, 18.
Look them up.
Oh, just some crazy stuff because I love the game so much. I was that kid that knocked a hole in my parents' garage. I had my strikes on, throwing the ball. The pitch back wore those things out.
Right.
And then I've told you this before, my parents, when we were 10 years old, built us a full-size Little League field in our backyard.
Yeah, that's right. You were saying that. How cool is that?
Short, my brother reminded me, short left field. I'm a right-hander. Short left field porch. I mean...
Oh, so that's why you were better than everybody?
It didn't take much to get it in here. My brother, a left-hander on the other hand, right field went on forever. Pop flies went out.
So how did you get home field advantage on your own field where you're actually related to the other ones?
Imagine that. Yeah, it was a little pop fly. They put up a kind of a tall fence there, but it didn't stop me. But.
You know, my daughter was one of the casualties of that growing professional travel ball, like the whole thing during middle school, because she was a great athlete, but she traveled a lot because she was moving with her mom from Denver to Chicago. And then when she came back from Phoenix, like she integrated well into basketball, but she really wanted to do softball.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went and tried out for the softball team in middle school, did great, but she wasn't affiliated with any club team. She wasn't integrated into it. And so they're just like, we got to make some cuts. We're going to cut you. And that was a lost opportunity because she was really interested in softball at that time and migrating from basketball to softball. And there really wasn't anything that she could do about that.
And, you know, she's in that younger group that there was like, I think that's why Nick is on to something here with this speedball thing, because give it a little time. We're losing kids like at a crazy pace. And being a huge fan of the game of baseball, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I think we'll be okay. I don't think baseball's dying.
Well, not on a global scale, but in the U.S.
In the U.S., it's definitely take a beating. Okay, let's transition. That was a great segment, and we really appreciate it. But there's something that came out, and this has been ongoing for quite a while. It's been ongoing like forever.
What part are you talking about? The lies about it or the
misinformation? Just all of it. And I'm talking about education in Arizona.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I would put it probably the most important thing that we do. To me, it's the biggest problem we have. We got our problems.
Well, I think it was to reset it for our audience. I think you touched on a real good point. Is you, from when you first moved here, and about how long ago that was, and where Arizona ranked to where it is today, and where they still
the needle
rank.
hasn't moved.
Yeah. Now, so
and I've got 36 years, so we're talking about a couple of generations now.
So how, in 36 years, has the state not been able to improve
needle
the
hasn't
education
moved.
system?
We're 46th, 49th, 51st, depending on who you listen to. And the new culprit is the ESA.
That's what they're blaming it on.
That's
now?
what they're blaming this on.
So explain ESA
for a long
bit.
time, it was charter schools. And
Right.
charter schools are roughly 36 years old in Arizona. You can check me on any of these dates. I'm willing to, but roughly that's how long they've been here. I don't remember.
So what is ESA?
Well,
anyway?
ESA is the Empowerment Scholarship account. I think that's exact.
You're right on that.
Is that right?
Empowerment Scholarship A.
Yeah, account. And what it is, and now I'm hearing different numbers. I thought it was 7. A recent article out of the Phoenix area now says it's 9,000 plus.
I'm going to bring that up for you.
And I think it varies depending on certain factors. Okay. What it is every child in the state of Arizona has this account that their parents can use or guardians can use for education.
Regardless of if they're like public school or private school.
Well, no. That so if you send your kid to the local public school, that's off the table.
Okay. But if you don't, so if you
if you send your
homeschool
kid to charter schools, which are technically public schools, that's off the table.
Okay.
But if you homeschool your kid, if you have your kid in a private school of any kind, that you have access to that. And I know quite a few people that I have turned them on to ESA that homeschool.
And that's state dollars.
That's state dollars.
That go to supplementing a child's education if they're not in the public school
public
system.
schools / charter schools, which again, charter schools and public schools are both public. Now, there's a difference in the charter schools and public schools, and let me really touch on this briefly. Public schools get full funding. And I just saw a number, it's like 14,000, but that doesn't represent the capital and building and all that. So there's additional monies.
So they account for 14,000 per child that goes to public school.
And real quick, I was in the charter school at one point, so I kind of have I got just enough knowledge to be dangerous, but I know kind of how it plays out.
Got it.
You've heard this 100-day program. I'm sure you've heard it with your kids. 100 days. That's the official counting day. There's 181 to 184 days in the public school calendar.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to say it for the last time. Charter schools are public schools, but they operate under a little different. So your public school gets the $14,000 plus additional money to build, maintain, etc.
Because you put your kid there.
Charter schools don't get that additional funding.
Okay.
Okay. So, but we're going to use 14,000 as the number.
Yeah.
Although a typical public school, the public school that sits down in your neighborhood, if the regular public school is actually getting a little more than that because it's baked in.
Yeah, okay.
And that's one of the big problems I have with a lot of this stuff that I'm hearing and reading. Nobody's even taking the time to explain it. They're just glossing over and throwing these numbers in here. Right. But we're going to start digging. And when Chris DeSimone, we shouted him out at the beginning, he's the one that kind of recently started talking to me about stuff, and he goes deeper, because I'm not going to quote any schools, although I heard them say this myself. I'm not going to quote any schools. I think here's the reason why we have a big problem. One of the reasons. They hadn't checked the reading proficiency since 2002.
Oof.
We're right now in 2024. So we had, and I think they realized it about 2022. So we had a 20-year gap that one of the larger school districts in the state of Arizona hadn't done a reading proficiency. And I'm like, well, what are you doing over there? Mm-hmm. And then they went on to say, again, heard them with my own ears. We're talking about educators and board members were in this, and I heard them with my own ears.
Okay.
No third-party stuff here. Well, teaching reading is hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, and for the kids, it's one of those things that you actually have to dive into. So, as an example, it can be uncomfortable for a kid that doesn't know how to read or is a little behind the group, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you don't do it. That means you work with them extra because they have to get there. You got to be able to learn how to read. You got to be able to present in some form in these classrooms.
That's right. Okay, Scott.
You gain confidence.
Let me ask you something then. Who's responsible for that?
Well, ultimately, the parents are responsible.
So before anybody thinks that I'm going off on some rant about the state or about the public education system or about any of this starts at home. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, parents, if you have children from birth to 18 right now, we'll leave it at that. Well, we won't even dig into the college stuff right now. That's another animal for another day. It's your responsibility to hold yourself, your children, and the school systems, whatever you're choosing. It's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's really not mine. I'm a taxpayer.
Right.
Gladly pay the taxes. People say, well, Clinton, you no longer have kids in school. Why do you care? I'm like, are you kidding me right now? No, I'm serious. Are you kidding me right now? Who's going to take care of me when I get older? I want great road builders and doctors and accountants. I don't care where you work. I want you to be the best version of you. And the only way we get that is with education. Mm-hmm. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Stop it with this. So when I read these articles, now we're blaming for a long time, and we're still blaming charter schools, by the way.
I have the article up for you.
Okay.
But we're also blaming now the ESA.
You know what?
Jump in here, David.
All right. So let's look at this number. $850 million shortfall for the budget.
Yeah.
Do we really think that all of that has to do with the ESA? First off, that would be mathematically impossible, correct? To be involved in that number?
Well, I think it is, and I'll tell you why. I think this is a math problem, David. Can I say this out loud? So...
And I love how this article writes it here, because I have friends that are using this ESA program, and they are not wealthy. Okay?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Shame on 12 News for reporting this BS. Look at this. Republican legislative leaders want to protect a wealthy family's ability to obtain. You don't need any money from your pocket to grab that ESA.
Yeah.
Correct, Clint?
That's correct.
Like, so this goes back, guys.
Matter of fact,
Perfect example of your media working for the government right here. Protect the wealthy families. Come on.
And then they gloss over the numbers, and it even talks in there about how the numbers are there, but there's more to it. Well, how about somebody just doing a deep dive on this?
Yeah.
Well, so
we're all adults. We can read kind of a balance sheet, or we should be able to, right?
Well, so let's reset it for a second. So what they're claiming essentially is because you get 14,000, because the schools get 14,000 per kid to take them to public school. Yeah. What we're saying is that if parents are finding alternative means other than public school to educate their kids, whether it be homeschool, private school, whatever, they don't like the education system, and they're not only is then the school not getting 14,000, but somebody has to pay that 7,000. And so I'm assuming that 7,000 ESA money comes from the government somewhere. It comes from the state budget.
I'm saying look at your ledger, because to me, you're saving $5,000 for every child, if it's 7 or 9, whatever that number is. The difference between public and the ESA is the savings in my number.
Yeah,
right?
because
I'm a math guy. Come on, people, can't we do basic
is not
math?
Spending 14,000 to put them in the schools.
Because
they're spending 7.
That's why I said the 100-day thing. I'm passionate about this because I want kids to get the best education possible. For selfish reasons. I'm kind of glossing that. Come on.
Gents, so according to this article, they do, kind of change their statement a little later. It says from wealthy to poor, all families are eligible for vouchers. But the thing that's in here is it amounts to about $430 million of new expenses to the state budget this year alone. According to both an independent analysis and calculations using a formula from the Nonpartisan Joint Legislative Budget Committee. Let's look at what this is real quick.
So what that is you can divide $850 million of a shortfall by 7,000 per kid on ESA funds.
Stop it. None of you can do math. No, the 100-day program, back to that real quick. That's how we determine each school's budget. The first 100 days is your average. For example, I'm just going to use an extreme case here. We take the first 100-day average of school, and they drive home. Actually, technically, in the state of Arizona, and I assume this is in a lot of states, by the way, but technically at 100 days, if no one came to school after the 100th day, the school's going to still get the monies throughout the whole school year for that money. That's like your average.
If they drop out afterwards.
If everybody dropped out, the school would still get their checks.
Okay.
$14,000 per every student up to that 100 days.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's a simple math problem. Yes, the ESAs went way past what they expected. Originally,
because people are dissatisfied.
They're dissatisfied with the public education system that I know for a fact hasn't changed in nearly 40 years.
Yeah, well, according to some parts of this article, there was over $1 million of public money spent buying Lego sets for these in-home.
You know what? I know that. I don't know the number, but David, you and I
I remember.
No, we actually, you know what though? This is a special needs child that we know for a fact, and their parents did buy Legos as part of the 7 in a homeschool environment. The parents can use this money however they wish, and part of that money was spent on Legos because their special need child, they felt needed that.
You can learn how to build stuff.
And you know what?
Follow directions.
Yeah,
I actually have no problem with that.
All right, Jen. So I'm going to chime in. So in this article, it says ESA supporters falsely claim vouchers save the state money. So I'm going to read this for you. Instead of speaking candidly about the financial straits posed by the ESA program, Toma has instead made the false claim that ESAs actually save the state money. Other ESA supporters make similar claims, focusing on broad statistical comparison of the overall average per pupil funding amounts of district students, which is $13,400 a year, versus ESAs, which is $9,800 a year. The Comparison does not reflect actual year-to-year expenditures by the state for the purpose of public education. Okay, as this place reported, school funding is based on complex formulas that involve federal, state, and local funds. Many of those costs are fixed, not directly tied to annual enrollment. Other costs are variable. The $13,400 per pupil amount includes many fixed costs for the system as a whole.
There you go.
For the system, right? The comparison is further complicated because, here we go, another compliment. Don't see this word here, listeners and viewers.
Just keep popping up. Complicated.
Okay, let me show you. Let me show you how these old media places work. Okay,
you're too dumb to understand.
You don't understand. It's too complicated for us to get into for you. Okay, because we're all dropping our IQs here thanks to these guys. Because public school students are also funded differently depending on which school district they live in. I have never seen a bigger paragraph of complete trash than right here.
You know what? See, there's your don't even. Hey, you know what the average IQ in America is today?
I don't know.
84.
That's lower than it was.
84. Oh, that's way lower.
I don't
than
really
it was.
know IQ
Even
numbers.
100 years ago, we were tapping around 100, which 100's not great. Hey, look. See right there, David?
Hey, did we get a good explanation of the money there, guys?
No, that's the whole thing. We've got
I'm still
this, and it's complicated, and we can't share. How about we just share
still
that?
looking for the math problem somewhere in here. Do you guys see it?
Oh, and it's all for the rich.
It's not over there.
For the record, ESA has been in the state of Arizona for a number of years. The new ESA, I'm just going to go out on the record and say it. Doug Ducey, not necessarily a big fan of Doug through a lot of his stuff and his background and all this. This is one thing Doug Ducey did right. He pushed it through. He made it happen. And again, I'm going to go on record. I'm not slamming any teachers. I know stories of a lot of teachers that are just getting abused.
Yeah.
But I am holding accountable the parents, starts there, and I'm holding accountable the system. They can't even come up with an explanation of why we're spending it. Look, people, here's the deal. $13,000 for public schools, which is a lower number than I had originally knew. $9,000 for ESAs, which is a higher number than it's been promoted as throughout this whole time. Then my information, as far as those numbers, has to come from state. They're providing the information. So I don't know how we jump from 7 to 9, but to me, that's still a difference.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. But that's still a difference of $4,000 for every student, and everybody knows basic math. If you subtract. We're going to round these off for simple math. If you subtract 9 from 13, you end up with 4.
You know what we need? We need a
complex solution.
We need a public administrator to come on here and have a good chat with us as like, okay, so if we're saying that this is too complicated for us to understand, there's got to be some sort of administrator that can sit down with us and can help clarify it so that we're not left beholden to this article that just says, well, it's kind of the rich's fault, but we're going to throw in that it's for everybody at the end, but it's $850 million, so the math doesn't line up, but it's fixed expenses. It's buildings and lots of administrative overhead.
You know how many, and this might have changed, so this number might have went up. You know how many school districts there are in Pima County? Mm-mm. You know, David? You want to guess? How many districts there are in Pima County?
And there 35.
Might be, how many?
35.
That's a pretty good guess. Mm-hmm. It's 28, and it might have gone up. Those numbers were old. We've got 28 or more school districts in Pima County. We've got like 300 in the state. Wow. Think about that. No, that makes sense because we're a widespread state. But for me, I'm looking at this going, okay, 1 million people. Yeah, it's a pretty large geographical area. But how about Northeast, Southwest? We pay whatever. They're all making good coin, and that's fine. They're educating our kids to 46
the teachers aren't making too much. The
teachers aren't making jack. We've got all these. We're top heavy.
Programs are doing fine.
They're doing fine. How about we do this? A lot of these school district leaders are making $250,000. Okay, let's raise them to 5. Your job just got way more difficult. But I don't need 28 different heads and assistant heads and heads to heads and heads and right I don't need.
The more rules you create, the more administrators you need to enforce the rules.
I want teachers, and we know teachers. I won't name names. David, you know this person. You know the husband for sure, and you know the wife. She's a teacher. They spend all their time, according to her, teaching to Ames. And she teaches, and she's teaching like second grade.
Grant money.
And making sure everybody knows just enough to pass the system. Mm-hmm. You know, here's a proven fact. Here's a fact. Look it up, David. Do you know that valedictorians and salvatorians actually are never really go on to accomplish anything?
Really? Why is that?
Because they know how to follow rules and take tests.
Gotcha.
But the independent thinkers.
Do you mean they don't accomplish like entrepreneurial stuff?
No.
Because I mean, I mean that makes sense. But like, if you're
I just mean entrepreneurial,
academia,
great stuff. You know, go on and make legendary stuff. They don't. They just fall into. Running a book somewhere, writing articles that talk about how complicated things are, and you wouldn't be able to understand them, so we're not going to write about them.
Can you guys believe that? I'm just like, and I went to the end of the article, and there still was no numbers because it was too complex. So.
Yeah.
But hey, we're getting close to the end here, guys. And I want to cover. Yeah, I want to cover something real quick. I'm not against public schools.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Absolutely.
What I am against is this kind of information that we see here.
It's propaganda.
Is just, if you're a listener and a viewer, you have to take personal responsibility and read and learn for yourself again, right? Because this is just...
David, we have dumbed ourselves down to the point at 84 average IQ.
Yeah. What do you guys got? We got a couple minutes left.
Well, that was pretty depressing.
Yeah. So like we said... we don't want to just be problem identifiers.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what's our solution, Scott?
Potential solutions. We're in the solution zone because we are solutionaries. They're kind of like revolutionaries, but they're solution-based.
I love it.
I love it. Tag that one right now, buddy.
So, couple of solutions is you've got to get business-minded people into the structure of the full operation because honestly, you have administrators that are running all of these organizations, but you need good business-minded people to come in and look at the overhead, look at the line items, look at where you can slash, where you can cut, where you can reconstitute funds. Because
hey, I'm going to jump in here real quick.
Yes.
You're right, except I don't want large corporations doing that, and I'll tell you why. The reason we have this is we're forcing people to work at government-sponsored large corporations on purpose. That's part of the whole thing. I need independent-minded business owners,
100%,
small business owners digging into this and holding people accountable. That's a fact.
And where you would like to see that is somebody that runs for the school district that is a private business owner that is used to running businesses, that is used to, like our friend said the other day, you have to eat what you kill.
Yeah.
Somebody that's used to having to run lean and mean and figure stuff out and make the most of what they have. Because for a lot of administrators that have never had to do that in their life, and free money just shows up whenever you budget for it or whenever you ask and you get more. Get somebody in there that's business minded, whether it's independent contract them or put them on the school board. And when you put them on the school board, they're going to have to fight with the unions because the unions are going to push back on all the things they said. But you say, hang on a second. We're refining how this business is going to operate. We're not saying we want to take money from teachers. Like we want to support the teachers. They are the lifeblood.
Want teachers to have more money, don't you?
Exactly. So the way you do that is you run your operation more smoothly and efficiently with better administrative overhead. So there is a potential solution from the solutionaries.
How about we do this? And I know we're running out of time. Parents and teachers, you got to be on the same team. Mm-hmm. Parents and teachers. You got to work together, because in a perfect world, I want teachers to be compensated like you would in any other profession that's killing it. I want teachers, minimum wage, $75,000. How about that?
Yeah, right.
You're going to attract a lot better qualified people. The people that are there are going to feel like are going to stay. You're not losing people because, hey, gosh, I'm only making $40,000 and I've been here for 20 years. I want the best we can. The best way to do that is incentivize them.
Yeah.
Parents, you got to hold them accountable. All that other crap will go away if we do the basics right. I want teachers. You know how many teachers I hear talk about taking money out of their pocket to subsidize things they need in their classroom?
Oh, yeah.
That's a crime.
So not only the teachers, but then you said like that $14,000 per student, but there's still, I get asked, like my son just graduated high school, but every single time it was an extra, I'd say a couple thousand a year in different fees and things just to do the normal
the
programs, not to even do any extracurriculars. So you're still having to pay on top, and the teachers are having to pay. So get a business-oriented mind in there to start going, what would I do with this money? And
Parents,
start trimming the fat.
Teachers, we're here to help you. We're here to support you. We love you guys. We want everybody to get a great education.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for listening. Hey, you know what? We welcome your feedback, our pushback. We're fine with that. If you see where we got
what we're here for.
Contention is beautiful.
We got no problem with that.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you want to come on and sit across the table from one of us and push back on that, great. If you want to come and agree with us, that's even better. But we had a good show today.
But we want to hear from you because we're not smart enough to be able to work through an article made by mainstream media. So we need your help.
Hey, and that was the outset. What you got, David?
Yeah, so one thing I want to cover before we jet out of here is the town of Marana has posted the locations for sandbags, in case you want to be sandbagging.
Ooh, good call.
During the monsoon season, which is approaching us real soon. They got a couple locations, the Marana Heritage River Park, Camino de Mañana on Tangerine Road, and Silver Bell Road and Linda Vista Boulevard. If you go to the town of Marana's website, they have some more information for that. I thought that was really cool and thought we should share that.
I think technically that starts officially like on the 15th of June, doesn't it?
Yeah, 3 days.
Like the first day
is the winds of change have arrived.
Hey, you know what? We appreciate all of you. We appreciate all of you that listen. We appreciate all of you that watch. We appreciate all the folks that have chimed in here on the chat. We appreciate Nick coming in, sharing his thing, and we're looking forward to doing a lot more stuff with you guys. So if you got any ideas, suggestions, opinions, throw it at us. We're big boys. We can handle that.
Yes. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.